to the growth of the industry. COVID-19, the coronavirus, the predictions for years is becoming unprecedentable due to the changes in its own nature. Now, if I talk about the transaction, mainly in terms of patents, it's about the technology development, diversifications and acquisitions. It comes to joint ventures, royalty agreements, IP licensing, and commercial agreements in outsourcing, manufacturing and supply, specialized IP holding company creations, assets, and debt structures, strategies, and then comes the IP litigation and settlements. Now, with particular to patent, there are three areas that I'll be focusing today. Firstly, it's the patent prosecution, and then the patent litigation, and to the patent transaction. Historically, litigation has been recession-proof. So the companies use litigation as a tool to improve their bottom line during the recession period. However, the transaction, on the other hand, it disappears quickly during recession. Patents are no different, where recession usually affects deals related to all kinds of mergers and acquisitions which might get curtailed at certain times. Patent prosecution now, it's different. How? As it is related to long-term investment, companies with strategies, vision adopts new patent applications as capital investment with potential return beyond 1 or 2 years of the recession period up to 20 years, which is generally the patent period. Now, some of the analysis that I would like to discuss today to have an overall scenario of this global potential recession. If I see the US survey during the first recession of 1997 to 2010, the filing of patents increased. The national filings increased with 7%, and the international filing increased more than 7%. However, during the second recession, which took 2010 to 2018, the number of applications dropped, and the national filings dropped 2.7%, and the international filing dropped more than 3%. The scenario in Bangladesh is completely different, nevertheless, because we have more international filings and less domestic filings. When it comes to domestic filings, it's more on scientific and research, and the international filings turns around to 500 to 600 applications every year. If we consider the scenario in China, where there are a lot of innovations, and if I talk about the number of cases, it's more than 5 lakhs of cases submitted every year in the Chinese courts, where 70% are copyright-related issues, 16% are trademark issues, and the rest are the general trade secrets and other issues. Now, some of the main observations during this pandemic when it comes to patent transactions are postponing the cost. And this means many companies prefer to defer the filing of the utility applications before making a decision on larger investments. Secondly, they are reluctant to pay the renewal fees. And this is because of the budget constraints, of course, due to COVID. And the renewal of evaluation of the patent value itself is also a big consideration of small companies or the larger companies. Thirdly, the lower damages on the patent cases. This is because it causes the lower patent filings, and also the shutdown of the courts, the virtual and the digitalization of the courts, it causes the award cost to be very limited as well. However, observing some of the cases of negative impacts on the recession in the IP sector, especially patent, some companies suffered loss. On the other hand, companies with healthcare, companies with science and development, and e-commerce, they are directly benefited due to COVID. Companies, while still in operation and making smart decisions on filing and maintaining patents, will require deep integration, analysis, strategies, business, and maintaining patent will require deep integration, intelligence, external pressure, and overall situation of the day-to-day operation of the business. Now, the innovation sectors where new testing kits, vaccines, and other modes are created, which contributes to the COVID situation. Not all a business will bring fortune at this time. However, in Bangladesh, we have seen there are more than 10,000 companies which were registered during this COVID situation, and the number of millionaires increased 10%. So they were all related to testing kits, their PPEs, and other innovative designed companies. Now, the need of patent lawyers and the patent firms in managing the files, focusing on improving the efficiency and cost cutting is also very, very crucial. Focusing on special needs in the specific innovation sector on demand of the crisis is also a key factor in terms of filing and management by the firms. The economic crisis reduces the bargaining power of a developing country, which focuses more on the healthcare and other sectors during this pandemic rather than the IP-related goods and services. Now, I would like to put some of my observations in terms of this patent transactions. Things that might tend, or the firm comes up with a decision of filing a patent litigation now, it might change in a few months because the situation is unprecedented, it's unpredictable. Then the courts are also facing challenges in the openings and in terms of scheduling the cases, going online, and with limited number of justices and judges sitting for the bench, I think the number of cases are increasing in terms of all the sectors. And also, even if we discourage filing of the new patent cases, the number of cases will increase. And eventually the companies which are focusing on the value of the patent itself, they will be stick to the cases because this will be a source of revenue for them. And lastly, I would say that startup and small businesses that fail, patent and other IP assets will hit the open market at a bargain price. And then possible unprecedented IP transactions will be coming up in the next coming years. So for me, this is so far my keynote, and I would be happy if I can get some questions. I'm happy answering them, the easy ones. Okay, so any questions, Bharti, from the virtual? No. Oh, yes, please.
Hi.
Hi.
How much time does it usually take to get a patent granted in Bangladesh? And what are the most popular countries? Like you said, there are more international filings than national filings. So what are most of the countries from where you get patent applications?
Okay. The patent filing, generally, it takes at least 3 years. And the international filings are mostly the US-based companies, the Japan companies, and then Chinese. These are the main 3 sectors, core sectors, where the patent filings are more in Bangladesh. Yeah. Yeah, we have a second question.
I think, as you pointed out, especially during the pandemic period, which has now been quite extensive, there has been a certain surge in incorporation of companies and probably in filings as well, whether it's domestic or international. Have you noticed where those trends have been coming from? Is it development of new techniques, of new technologies, or is it more process patents, or I think that I may be using the wrong term here, but use patents, I think they're called, which is developing new uses for known compounds or known or even traditional technologies, traditional medicine, for instance.
Okay, so in Bangladesh, the government offices are open. When I lastly talked with the Department of Patent Design and Industries in Bangladesh, the head of the patent, the deputy registrar, he said that even though the office is open, they have limited government employees to serve. However, the patent filings are still there, the renewal is still on the process, and the international filings are coming up more on the new techniques rather than the process. Yeah.
Thank you, Wolora.
Morning.
Hello.
I have a specific question for you. As far as patent disputes are concerned, what is the mechanism in the alternate dispute resolution area for disputes in the in patents?
Okay, so this is a very, very important, rightly noted. I would say that when it comes to patents or petty patents, the number of expertise or the number of lawyers in Bangladesh, it's I would suggest 2 or 3. There is very less number of lawyers that wants to actually practice the IP overall. And if I talk about patents, since the international filings are very high, the national lawyers tend to go for the patent, especially the drafting of the patent application itself. The lawyers are, I would say, 1 or 2. This is because the more startups we have in Bangladesh and lots of investors coming up, they still focus on going to the market instantly rather than having the due diligence and the checkup and the patents filed and then competing in the open market. However, the scenario is completely different. Many patents gets rejected just because of a bad drafting of a lawyer. But this is an honest confession, I must say, because when it comes to a developing country, people tend to practice those areas which are already established. And when it comes to challenges, when it comes to new version or new areas of practice, it takes a little bit time. Bangladesh is turning its 50 years this time after the liberation from 1971. And though the trademark lawyers, we have many. Copyrights, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 at max. And patent lawyers, I would say 1 or 2 maybe. But still, I'm there. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to work more on the new areas. And I hope the new generations at my age or maybe younger, they are now coming up with more, challenges and practice these patents. And when it comes to disposing of, I think the ADR is not working on IP sectors. The ADR is more working on financial issues and transactional issues and custom matters and tax matters. I think they are more running into the ADR disputes, not the IP ones. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day ahead. Thank you.